was previously an assistant nurse unit manager. It's that very senior position, taking over from the nurse manager when they went on leave. And he has a story for us to know about, and it's not unusual across Australia, especially in the health sector. So, Duncan, lead us in.
Thanks, Russell. Yes, this is Geofrey Manatese, a colleague that I've known for over 12 years. I worked with him in a program called Hospital in the Home at Monash Health. We worked, extremely well. He was a senior nurse who was immensely well respected by his colleagues and patients. The program itself was designed to keep patients either out of hospital or get them out of hospital rapidly into an environment, in their own home where they'd be much more comfortable, but they were receiving hospital level care. In early 2021, when it became clear that the COVID injections were going to be put to the being strongly recommended to the staff, I had some grave concerns about both the ethics and the potential safety of these injectables. And that was, I think, reasonably well known throughout the department, even though there was suppression of discussion by threats of being reported to AHPRA. Geofrey was aware of my concerns, and then I'll let Geofrey take the story over from here.
Geofrey, it's been an emotional roller coaster ride for you. You went from a senior position to not having a job at all. Why?
Thank you, Russell. So my trouble started when I had the first Pfizer injection, and then I had a lot of medical problems after that. That included pain all over the body. That included lack of sleep. I had no energy. It also included tinnitus, so all ears ringing, and then myocarditis. Had some exemptions along the way, 2021 to 2022.
So they were happy to have you work in the health sector with an exemption, no problems at all.
Yes. I got two exemptions, and I was working in there, but I had a lot of conditions, so I wasn't allowed to have. I had a work directive that I was supposed to follow, so no one else that I would take to. I wouldn't have a break with anyone else. I had to wear the N95 all the time, things like that. But I managed to work through and through, which wasn't easy. But towards the end of the September 2022, the exemption that I had got from a cardiologist was going to finish, and there was an indication that I wasn't going to get another one. But when I tried to speak to my employer, I was told that I should have the vaccine if I'm not getting the exemption. But I was still having problems. Up to now, my ears continue to ring. I do get some arrhythmias and chest pain exercise. Sometimes I still go and consult the cardiologist, who has been reassuring me, because the main test that was done was an MRI, which showed that I had evidence of myocarditis through that. So I still go and see a cardiologist. But in summary, that's how I lost my job, because I could not see myself taking another injection when I was still having trouble with my health. One of the other things that I found with my health was I was on medication for high blood pressure, but at some point it was very, very poorly controlled. And only up until last year, probably September, October, the doctors have now stopped increasing the medication. So I'm sort of on a higher dose of medication to try and control my blood pressure. So being in the health industry and doing a little bit of support, a little bit of research, and Duncan, knowing Duncan, being a senior consultant doctor, I would say, oh, have you looked at this? And he would do a little bit of research and just, yeah, read this, then I'll read that. So he has been a big support through my journey where I was really struggling with everything else. So at this moment, because I was given the ultimatum whether I would be fired or whether I should resign at the end of that exemption in 2022 September, I ended up resigning because they were going to fire me anyway. So I got my long service payout, and then I went and paid a senior citizen who was doing a small handyman business, doing real estate signs. So that's what I'm doing right now. It's very sad. I still feel that I should be out there with everyone, like I was there with everyone during that time, even though I had work directives to do, you should not do this and that. But I was there. I was looking after all my patients. I would go and test them. I was giving treatment that was required. And I was supporting all the team because I was an assistant nurse manager. I was supporting the teams that I was meant to be supporting. And I felt very satisfied with my job. And I really liked my job.
Yeah.
But because I lost that job, I'm sort of trying to live a life and sort of hoping to move on. But as you can imagine, 28 years old, I'm doing the same job and I'm not young anymore to try and reinvent myself. So I'm kind of feel that probably I can go and do nursing again. But if I'm sort of split because I don't want to relive that experience that I had during COVID. So I'm doing that handyman business, but part of me is saying, maybe I should go back. I've spoken to a few other places, but I haven't sort of done the move back to go back there. So right now I'm doing the handyman business.
All right, great. At least you found something to do, but what a shame, all that expertise, 28 years of training, and you're doing handyman's work. I do that for my wife at the moment. It's hard work. It's great to have a mate like Duncan, who's actually gone through a very similar situation to come back to the health work now. How many, you said prior to the recording, you said that you'd worked with a support group for people who've been vaccine injured. Is that right? Where you met other people?
Yeah, so through colleagues, I found out there were support groups, even within Monash Health where I used to work. There were a few other people who were experiencing same problems, so we sort of ended up on a support group where we would support each other to the extent that sometimes we would go into parks and have a meal together. And sort of help to just to keep our sanity back, because it wasn't an easy thing to just you have something and it just goes and you're trying to find out how it's gone.
Yeah.
And particularly for me, I know in that support group there were some nurses who said, yeah, I'm not having this at all. But for me, I followed the directive and I got injured, and then I was on my own. And it was it's very difficult.
It was very disappointing that your colleagues who had supported you for so long walked away from you, especially your management. You'd have been disappointed.
Oh, well, the thing with COVID, I think it was multi-layered how it was managed, because the people who I was supposed to be speaking with, they were following directives.
Yeah.
And
cool.
how that directive was affecting people. This is then how I ended up getting affected that way, because the directive was supposedly coming from the Department of Health.
Yep.
And then everyone I was in direct contact with we are following the directive. but it was a directive that ruined people's lives. For me, I ended up with nothing. I sold all because I thought I was set for life in terms of working hard, because I worked really, really hard. I had to sell my investment property. I had to try and make another living out of what I had.
Yeah.
And now I can't even say I've got a future, a secure financial future, because everything has been turned upside down.
And of course, you're not being offered any compensation at all.
No, down the track, I ended up because I had problems with what probably was more of really a lot of anxiety and depression and really struggling. So I ended up on workers' compensation, which is was more just to try and support me so I can get medical help and all that stuff. But I also got a little bit of payments at some point, which is coming to an end, even though I have not been able to say I have stabilized, because the small business I get work sometimes I don't get work. Sometimes I get a fair bit of work, but I try to do like what everyone would do in a small business to try and survive, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dr. Syme Duncan, are there any protocols that are helping people at the moment with?
Well, listen, yeah, as you're aware, I'm still suspended by APRA, so I'm not allowed to give medical advice. But I would suggest that I still speaking to colleagues. There are protocols. People can be helped, but it's a case of finding those physicians who are aware of those protocols. For people who are who are struggling to find it, I would suggest going to the FLCCC website. That gives you certainly some good information about people who have been injured by these COVID-19 injections. Dr. Peter McCullough has also got some, again, sort of natural therapy products, which also appear to be helping individuals. I mean, each individual, it would appear, has got variable symptoms as a result. You know, the people who have been injured have variable symptoms, and the treatment needs to be tailored to those individual symptoms. But as a starting point, those sites would be very useful for them.
As a doctor, how long have you been suspended for, and what's your current situation?
So I've now been suspended for over 2 years. So getting 2 years and 2 years and probably 2 months roughly. Yes, the persecution continues, and again, it's a political persecution because I've failed to follow the narrative.
So when will they return your authority to you?
That's a very good question. As far as it's in their hands. Unfortunately, this organisation, APRA, and the medical boards believe that they can keep you indefinitely suspended, even though there's nothing in the national law to say that they can do that. So, in my view, they've abused their power. They're abusing their power, and I'm not the only one. There are a number of other doctors who've also suffered the same fate by because they've stuck to their ethical principles.
Yes, I know we had Dr. Peter down at Mornington Peninsula who just said he just resigned before he'd been working for 50 years, and he said, "Oh, if you're going to fire me, I'll just resign." So he resigned. Yeah. But he was at that age where he couldn't. He was happy to do that. I don't know where we take it from here for either of you. My view that people like yourself need to be recognised and compensated for what the authorities have done. And that's where we'll be working towards that from now on. So to you, Dr. Syme, to you, Geofrey, I say I wish you all the best. Please feel free to come back to this office at any time where we can be of help to you. And I thank you for coming on the program today. From the bottom of my heart and most sincerely, and And Geoffrey, I just wish you all the best. Handymen like you are very hard to find, especially if you have a heart attack at the same time the handyman's there.
Yeah, like it was that the handyman thing was also pretty much to bring sanity to me, because I could not imagine sitting at home and just crying. I just thought, if I go out there, and that helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Because I would although it was another roller coaster in that handyman thing, to be able to appreciate that this is what I have to do. And even up to now, I'm thinking, what am I doing? But it takes me out of the house. It gives me a little bit of money. And I think I'm at a little bit at a better place, because I don't just sit in one place, because I'm not used to, I've never really been somebody who is sitting there and worrying about, oh yeah, what do I do? Can I get my next meal? Because I used to be very hardworking all my life. Yeah.
Thank you so much, both of you, and I look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you, Russell, for everything you're doing for those people who've been injured by this this technology.
Thanks, Dr. Simon. Thanks, Geoffrey.